So this is my crew. This is Isabel. This is Gary. This is Julien Alfred.
Got some good music playing.
Yeah, we love that. So you're mic'd?
Yes.
So this is gonna be just a regular casual conversation, nothing crazy.
A chill conversation.
Yeah, it's very chill. Hence our little
Music. Yeah, I love the music.
I'm a soca junkie. So
Oh, yeah?
I am a huge soca junkie. I'm so appreciative of the fact that
No
you
problem.
had availability. I know you have a real tight schedule.
Where do I sit?
You sit
Here.
right
Okay,
here.
perfect.
I was just talking to the girl who's doing my makeup, and I was telling her thank you. And I showed her a picture of you. She's like, "Oh my God, her skin is flawless." I told her, I was like, "Yeah, I think she has one of the most flawless skin
Thank you.
I've ever seen." Yeah, for real. I like it's glowy. I told Henry, I was like, why she don't have a skincare contract yet?
I need that Fenty skin.
Listen, hello. I'm like, no, that's a no-brainer. Listen, you need to manifest that. Maybe we need to say that on camera.
Said I got big dreams, they're all about to come true. Chilling at the top with a nice view. It's a good life right now. It's a good life right now. Good life, it's a good life. Good life, it's a good life.
Our newest gold medalist on the block, fastest woman in the world of 2024. Bowerman Trophy winner. I mean, the accolades go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But I will say the newest accolade to the list is our Rare Ones alumni after today. Welcome, Julien.
Thank you. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I've always just been so interested in finding out more about the people I'm invested in or I'm intrigued by. And I will say, I've been following your journey for a good while, from not as far as St. Lucia to Jamaica, but the minute you became a Longhorn, I was like, this girl is one to watch. And admittedly so, and this is a fun fact, it's definitely not an embarrassing moment. I actually started paying attention, not because of how fast you were. I started paying attention because I was like, what is her skincare routine? I was like, this girl's skin is like chocolate. What is she using? Aww. That's literally the first thing I saw when I saw you on the track. And I was like, I really need to figure this one out. You weren't attached to Puma then. So I was like, unless I sent fan mail, there would have been no way to figure out what your skincare routine was about. But this flawless skin, is it genetics? Like, let's start there.
Some of it might be, I would say it might be, but I think just maybe the products that I also use, like the oils and maybe like the lotion, like Fenty Skin. Hey.
Hey, shout out to Fenty.
Shout out to Fenty. But just using the different products and also genetics, I think.
Your mom or your dad, who you say had the flawless skin gene, or both?
My dad was darker, so I'll give it to him.
Oh, so you got the color from your dad.
I'll say so, yeah.
Okay, but you got the tone and everything else from mom.
From mom.
Big ups, mom.
Yeah.
Them genes coming in. Them genes is given. It's given.
It was definitely.
I have to tell you, like, I was in awe. And we're going to continue to talk about her aesthetic before we get into anything else. Because to me, you were... I mean, it's a big deal to be a gold medalist. So for me, I've always said that you're one of the most beautiful athletes I've ever seen. Listen, track and field has a lot of beautiful athletes. I've always had beautiful athletes, beautiful bodies. But then when I saw you walk out, when they introduced you for the Bowerman, I'm like, what is happening? This chick needs a modeling contract, a skincare deal. I mean, you were glistening. And I was watching it with some friends and they were like, whoa, who is that? Because they don't watch track and field. And I said, y'all don't know Julien Alfred? I was like, well, y'all gonna know today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, especially coming from you as well. Like, you're very beautiful as well.
Thank you.
But you know, it's really something that I'm trying to get into when it comes to like doing makeup. Because I was a tomboy growing up.
Yeah.
Being on the road all the time and just being into like the boy stuff, riding bikes. And I mean, just really finding myself now, like getting into makeup slowly but surely. And, you know, finding my sense of style. I mean, I'm just now figuring it out.
So what would you say is your sense of style? Would you say you're preppy? You'd say you like classy stuff, you like trendy stuff, you're like sporty? Like, what is your...
It really depends on the occasion. Like now, I'm like really athleisure right now.
For obvious
because
reasons.
Yeah, I have practice
Yeah,
right after.
yeah.
However, I'm more like into chic, like classy stuff like that. I'm
Timeless
really
stuff.
into. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm into.
Yeah, I like that too. I like a soft aesthetic. Anything, the way I choose the outfits that I wear, if I can see myself wearing them 10 years from now, that's a good buy.
Yeah.
I don't like to toss anything out. So anything I know I could be like, oh, you know what? This could stay in my closet for a good decade.
I think the exact same way as well. But my Pinterest board is like full of like chic clothing and just trying to like, I love shopping.
Oh,
so
hey, high five to that. Shop is anonymous.
So my like cart is like full of like, some long sleeves, some like blue jeans.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into like kitten heels as well. So I'm really trying to like figure it out. Yeah. So I'm really trying to figure it out as I go along. But I really love like the chic, classy, like simple pieces.
People would never think that you'd be into fashion because the only time they see you is on the track, right? But I always tell people there's so much more to an athlete than just when they get on the track. Your aesthetic is completely different. Your mindset is different. And then when you get off the track, you're a totally different person.
Like what my coach always say, have an alter ego. So outside of track,
fashion fairs.
So outside of track, I'm just like this really calm person. I'm always in my house. Whenever I do get a chance to like go out and do something, like I love shopping, not shopping, like grocery shopping as well.
Okay.
And getting dressed, just doing the simplest things, like going and buy flowers. So I love doing stuff like that. But on the track, it's almost like I'm like the meanest person.
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into what would you say? Well, explain that. I'll let you explain. What do you mean when you say you get the meanest person? Because obviously with the alter ego, you have this nice, friendly, bubbly, or laid back, and then you get in the track. And I've seen a lot of athletes who do that. Like there's no like talk to me or high five. It ain't none of that when you get on.
I have no friends on the track. I mean, I want the same thing. Yeah. I want the same thing that they want, and there's no reason for me to be vulnerable with anybody, to be high-fiving or talking, and I want the exact same thing. And I mean, I have to be mean to get it. I have to be hungry just as the next person. I mean, I have to eat as well.
Exactly.
So there's
figuratively
no reason,
and literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no reason for me to be friendly with anybody. So I've seen comments when people talk about, oh, she's so mean, or like when I smile. Yeah. When I'm done racing, people will like say, oh, she's finally smiling. What's there to smile about when I'm about to race?
Hello, you're lining up, and this is work.
Yeah, this is work.
This is work.
This is business.
Hello.
Like I have no time to play.
And there is one goal in mind, and when you get to that goal, it's then you could be like, well, haha, congratulations.
When I'm done,
when you're done,
a little smile.
Yeah.
But when it's time to race, I'm not playing around.
So let's go back to last year, August 3rd, 2024. I still get chills every time I say the date because I think everybody was glued to the television. And I mean, it's safe to say that you were an underdog, right?
Yes.
Not for the Caribbean, not for the Caribbean, especially after, I mean, there were so many things that happened that day and the days before that, where you were thinking, okay, Jamaicans are going to be in this race. So now we're going to win anyway as the Caribbean diaspora because we have all our people in the race. And then we heard, this one's not running, and that one's not running, and that one's not running. And I kid you not, in that moment, I said, okay, now, Julien. And what was it like? I'm sure you probably got like the needles of pressure just shooting at you. Yeah. Just not even your country at this point, but just everybody else saying, now look.
At the time, I didn't feel any pressure, to be quite honest. And it wasn't until the Puma press conference, I think 2 days before I competed, that I knew who wasn't running and who was running. But the fact that my coach had us away from like everything that was happening, because we had a camp in Monaco where it was just us, like our training group, our coach. So it was like very personal and very private. So my coach took some time out to just have like minor conversations with us. We did lots of visualizations as well. So it was something that I was actually prepared for, like no matter what was thrown at me, that I knew that my coach prepared me for that very moment. So it doesn't matter who was in that race or not. it was all about
Child,
my
I was
mindset.
nervous. I was nervous. I was like, oh my God.
My prelims, I was nervous. I was
Yeah,
real nervous. Like I was so tense during that time. But after that, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's out the way. Let's get ready for the next round. And which was the semifinal of death, which I had. They had no reason putting us all together.
Right?
At
It
all.
was, I almost feel like it was a setup. I really feel like it was fixed. I was like, what? Literally, my heart dropped in my feet. I was like, I mean, I never doubted you. I will say that. I never doubted you. All year, I kept saying, this girl has been consistent. She has been showing up. She ain't got no games to play. And you, all through the season, you were showing up. And you know when I noticed it? Indoors. When you, I was like, oh yeah, no, this whole year. If y'all thought this was gonna be all year, when I saw you ran across that, when y'all hit the little mat cushion thing at the end, and I was, well, we already knew you won at that point, but the fourth,
I didn't know.
I knew.
I did not
I knew
know.
because it was close, right?
Yeah, it was really close.
So, but I was like, yeah, I think she got that. I think she got that. When you hit the wall, I said, I think she's gonna be the one to watch. Because I do watch track and field with friends who are also former Olympians. I have family members that are former Olympians. And so I'm always dialed in and I always pay attention to who's doing what. But when I saw that race, I said, oh yeah, 2024 gonna be good.
It's crazy how you thought about it. I did not think about it at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, at that very moment, all I could think of was that I won St. Lucia's first global medal. At Worlds, in fact, because I don't think we've won a medal before.
Yeah.
And all I could think about was just at the time, and then moving into outdoors, I put so much pressure on myself then, because I'm just thinking like, now I have to go out there and continue to
now
perform.
you have something else to prove.
Yeah.
You
Especially
set
for
the
St.
bar.
Lucians, like knowing that they're watching me now, knowing that they're expecting me to
The
do
whole
good.
Caribbean.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So I put so much pressure on myself going to outdoors that I didn't even think so far ahead that it's about to be a great year. I was just thinking of at the moment, like now I have to perform for my country. So yeah.
And you did that. And I literally was like, she is going to be the one to beat. I mean, I love almost everybody that lined up in that final 8. I can say I've watched each one of the journeys, but it was, I mean, I'm biased. Like, I'm biased. Anyone that is representing the islands, it doesn't matter which one, I'm Team Islander. I have my favorites, Team USA as well, but I was like, listen, St. Lucia about to do it. They about to do it, and you
We
did.
did.
And you did. And I was like, I mean, you should have heard me in the house. I was doing, I think my neighbors were like, is she getting killed, mauled? Like, I was screaming.
I read that so many
God,
times. People were screaming. Even on TikTok, I was seeing like people's reaction to like to me winning, and so many other persons have said that to me that they were screaming.
Because it was just such a monumental moment. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I felt like Paris Olympics was for the birds. I was like, what's going on? Murphy's Law took effect. What could go wrong went wrong. And so if you watch track and field, you're like, what the? From Sha'Carri and Sharika getting stopped at the gate, not being allowed to go in, till even our own athletes, Stephen Gardner not being able to compete, dropping out of a race. Like, I mean, so many things were happening. And then Noah with all his, I was like, okay, look. What's going on? Like, do we need? Yes, I was like, do we need a reset button? I was like, I ain't like this for my girl. We don't need that. But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? No, maybe all these things need to happen. So when her win happens, they'd be like, okay, story, positive story. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. So it's safe to say I was extremely happy for you. I was very excited for you. And I was also nervous. I was like, oh Lord, her phone about to ring off the hook. And how do you manage that? Like how? The days after that, the weeks after that, how did you manage, like, literally?
It was a lot. It was, especially, so I wonder, it was so hard for me to believe that it happened to me, especially.
Really?
Yeah, it was
all
very
the hard work you put in.
Yeah, it was very hard to believe that everything that I have worked so hard for came to fruition. Yeah. And it's not until it actually happens that you want it so badly, but when it happens, it's like, okay, so is it true or not? Like, is it mine or not? So I woke up that next day and I was so emotional because I still couldn't believe it. I still couldn't believe that all my hard work and the sacrifices that I made growing up, it finally came together at the right time. And sometimes when you face so many hardships, when something good finally happens to you, it's hard to believe. And in Paris, I mean, the next day I had to get ready for the 200, which is a crazy schedule, by the way. Yeah, because I had like 2 hours sleep.
I saw the time in between. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, 5 days straight of like high level competition was actually like insane.
Yeah, because you had to go through how many rounds for each?
Three.
Three. So,
rounds.
and so your legs ain't rest yet.
Yeah, and like mentally and emotionally, I was just not in it after that, after the 100, because I'm still battling in my mind what just happened the night prior. And then I'm thinking, okay, now it's the 200. You know, the 200, I'm not really, it's not really my baby like that. But I know people are expecting me to go out there and also try to get.
So there's extra pressure still. Yeah.
There's like pressure, well, in the 200, because in the 100, I'm just thinking, okay, let me just go out there. Because I think that 2025 I really figured out how to run the 100. But the 200 is like a flip coin. Like, let's just see what happens, you know. But I mean, it was just a roller coaster of emotions, like happening at the time. Even going to St. Lucia, being overwhelmed by just the amount of love and support that I received from them. It was so much happening. Like, even now, that's why I choose to also stay in my own space. Yeah, to pull back, because for my sanity, I have to do that.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to that place where you like, okay, I have to find a balance. Because I think it's really important to let people know that, like, I thank you. I appreciate you, like, for believing in me, for supporting me, for cheering for me. But then there's that other side where you just need to decompress, especially if you didn't grow up in a spotlight. If you grew up in the spotlight, then you're used to it. Some people actually crave it, you know. Some people, it's a big thing for them. They're their best self, truest self in the front of cameras. But then other people, they're like, yeah, no, that ain't really for me.
Yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah, just moments. And like, I can tell you, I know ain't nobody gonna believe this, but I was an introverted kid.
Oh, yeah?
I was very, very introverted. I grew up sandwiched between two boys. And I always wanted to do what they did. So I was a tomboy as well. I know people ain't gonna believe that either. But yes, I was a tomboy also. And my mom was like the soft, perceived feminine person. And everywhere we went, people would be like, oh, wow, you're so beautiful. You'd be like, oh, here we go again. And I'd just be like, ground swallow me, because the people would always come. So I grew up watching that energy coming at my mom, but I always wanted to be with my brothers, and they'd be climbing trees and playing basketball. And so I did all those things. And eventually, I don't know, something hit me.
I was about to ask, like, how did you get out of that? Because I'm just trying to figure out, okay, is it going to be like forever? Do I have to adapt to certain things?
You know what it is? It's the funniest thing. It's probably the least expected thing I thought was going to happen. The minute one boy told me I was pretty. And that was it. Like, I was like, oh, wait, what? Say what now? Let me go grab a mirror. I mean, I never doubted that I looked okay, you know, like, but beauty wasn't something that was my focus growing up. But the minute I started like really dating, I was like, okay, well, I got to take this thing a little serious, because I need to find a little situation. Like, I can't do it if I'm not, you know. So I think slowly but surely I started paying attention to what I wore. I didn't get into makeup until real late either.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my goodness. Like, the first time I got my eyebrows waxed, my eyebrows shaved, It was probably like 21.
21? Wow.
And then eyebrow wax, like closer to 30. I was scared. I was like, I know, I would pee up myself.
So you were in that era for a long time then?
I sat in a space of limbo of how feminine I think I could go, because I wasn't sure I could commit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort to commit. But I think after I realized that it felt good for me, once I realized it felt good for me, I was like, you know what? It's not so bad. And then I got the shopping bug. Oh God, that's not a good bug to have. I got the shopping bug and it was on. So now it's my life. And then what I do for a living, you know, I'm talking to people all the time. So I consider myself an ambivert at this point. So as long as I'm comfortable with you, like if I feel off of energies. If I feel comfortable with you, oh, you can get me to talk all day. But if I walk in a room and I don't know you, I will be decent and respectful. Hi, and I'm going to find a corner or find someone I know. So, I mean, having said that, now you're like thrusted into the spotlight because you're this introverted person. And you could tell in some of your interviews, you're like, Lord, hurry up, let this over. Just please let this over. But you'd be so politically correct and decent. She'd be like, Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But you can tell in the background, you're like, God, how many more questions? How many more questions? I just want to go.
Yeah. You know, I'm a really shy person as well. And like I said, introverted.
Yeah.
So I stay to myself more often. But once I'm comfortable, like you said, once I'm comfortable, once I'm happy, once I'm in a space where I feel safe, like you'll get me to talk as well. And you'll get me to have different conversations and, you know, laugh and have a good chat. But I'm actually introverted and just so shy all around, which I'm trying to like get better at. To be honest, I talk a lot more than I did before.
Really?
Imagine that. Yeah, I talk way more than I did before. Like before, I'll just be like, yeah, give very short answer to the questions. But now I'm trying to like have different conversations and, you know, trying to like find myself as well and just trying to be more open to certain things, because I mean, life is sometimes not as crazy as I think it is. And
You get in your own head.
yeah, I get in my own head. It's like, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should. And I tend to overthink a lot. Like, maybe I should have said that. Sometimes I just tend to like just be quiet and just observe what's around.
No, I'm an overthinker. I can relate to that. When you overthink, you literally create these scenarios that don't exist. But to you, they exist.
To me,
Yeah, and you're like, wait a minute, is this really? And then you find yourself sometimes, maybe if you have a trusted person here or there, you ask them, like, what do you think? And you thought that X, Y, Z, and based on what they say, then you'd be like, oh, okay.
No, sometimes I still be thinking about it though.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I still don't think this is right, but I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's a hard space to be in. I was listening to one of your interviews and you talked about how therapy was so important to you. And during 2024, you sat into that space, like you dive into therapy, and like being an overthinker, that is necessary. I have a life coach that I meet with once a week online. She couldn't be where I live because when I die, she'd have to come. Because you know, that's like, it becomes your trusted person. They hear your vulnerabilities, they hear the secrets, the challenges, like the things that are weighing you down, and then they hear some nice things too. But to put a lot of trust in this one person that you consider professional and just sharing, like, how does that feel to you when, you know, you're in this area, you're in one box where you don't talk to nobody, you know, you're lined up in a lane and you're like, let's just get the show on the road. And then afterward, as an overthinker, all these things are hitting you. I could have done this differently. Maybe I got blocks wrong, or maybe wow, like what's next round, or did that girl look at me and kind of like, you be thinking so many things as an overthinker. It's not just like one thing. There's like 10 things that hit you, and then they all are fighting for a spot at the top of your thought process. So how do you, two things, remain really focused when you get on the track, outside of knowing this is work? You know, because you're thinking, what if you had a bad day before? What if you had an argument with someone? Like, how do you reel it right back in and stay focused? And then post-race or after any incident that may go awry, like, how do you handle that with therapy? Like, do you just pick up the phone and be like, hey, look, like, what do you do?
No, I think it takes a long time for me to actually speak about something that's affecting me until I think that I'm at my breaking point where I cannot handle it anymore. I'll pick up the phone, I'll call, because I work with a sports psychologist, a sports therapist, and I have a life coach now that I work with since the year started. But initially, I worked with a sports therapist that I worked with back in college. That's when I really realized like the importance of it. But I mean, sometimes when let's say you have an argument with somebody the day before, use it as motivation to just get on the track.
Really?
Yes, I do that sometimes, to be honest.
I wish I could do the same.
Really?
It can't work. Motivate.
Yeah.
No, I want to slaughter people after.
Sometimes, but I have a belief that, you know, if something bad happens, there's something good coming.
Well, that part, I agree.
There's something like good coming. So it's like when I have an argument or something bad is happening to me, I'm just thinking, okay, that means my race is about to go good. You know,
now you're fueled.
Yeah, now you're fueled. Yeah, those kind of things kind of fuel me. And it's not a good way to think at times. Well, when something bad happens, I mean, something good is coming. I mean, but just when I'm on the track, I try to just think of what my coach really taught me, and then to just cancel out the noise happening around me. Because sometimes when you're in that lane, you tend to think of what's happening around you, if I'm ready. But having a sports psychologist kind of helped me to just cancel out the noise and those thoughts that's happening like in my head, because it's all things it's all doubt. It's all doubt. And knowing that you already prepared, all of the things you're thinking is all doubt. And it's almost like you preventing yourself from getting out there and doing good. Like my coach always said to me, you try so hard to be normal. And I mean, it can be true as well that I try hard to be normal. It's like my life it's almost like it's too good to be true that I'm actually here doing the things that I always dreamt of doing.
Did you see yourself being like here in this moment, accomplishing everything that you have? Like, did you see that?
I've had glimpses of those visions, but it's like you can think of something, it's like, okay, that's kind of like BS almost.
Yeah, you were like Devin, who another Bahamian hurdler would say, you have to be delusional. Like you have to have like this level of delusion. Did you have that? No.
No, it's like
So
yes,
Devin,
you
it was
think
only
about
you.
it. It's like yes, you can think about it. Or if my coach said to me, I think you can do this, I'd be like, you're joking. Like just like stop playing. In my head, I wouldn't say it to him because I mean I have respect for him. But in my head, I'd be like, I'll laugh it off and just be like, you're joking. Like you're too funny for that. But I mean, I don't think growing up, yes, I always thought that I had a chance of getting a medal. Wanting to be St. Lucia's first gold medalist as well. But those dreams will only come and go. But it wouldn't like stay forever. Like now,
But I remember watching an interview where you talked about where the person interviewing or speaking said that on the morning of the race, you wrote in your journal, Julien Alfred, Olympic gold medalist. So clearly that thought caught up with, it came to fruition. So at what point do you think it registered to you that like this is going to be a thing?
Yeah, I think not until it got closer to the Olympics that I had like this feeling. Like my coach and I had a lunch date. And we sat down and have lunch together outside of the hotel in Monaco, and we had like this long talk where, you know, he just spoke life into me. And you know, Coach Flo, being with him, he's been my coach since 2019, and he's always like spoke life into me, even when I didn't believe myself. So that talk in itself kind of flipped the switch for me, because yes, I can do well, but I still have questions where it's like, what if? Can I still go out there and do well? Do I still have it in me to go out there and perform? But you know, he always instilled like so many different things in me, and the positive talk as well. And it wasn't until I got closer to the Olympics that I really believed that I could have like gotten a gold medal. And that morning, even though I knew I had to go through the semi-final of death with Sha'Carri and then Shelly next to me, people that I really respect, like I just had a feeling that it was going to happen. And just also like my faith and writing it down, like God didn't bring me this far for nothing. So I think it just all came together like at the right time for me.
Would you say like, at what point in time would you say that you realized you were that girl?
Wow, that's a good question. At what point? I think I still have struggles with that. However, I think with this year in particular, when I realize what I've done, I think it's only coming together now for me that I'm realizing who I am.
Really?
Yeah.
That's real interesting, because I would think that literally after crossing the finish line,
No.
I'd be like, well, I did that.
Yeah. No, I'm actually not that kind of person.
I mean, because let's go back. Considering the fact everybody thought that USA, Sha'Carri Richardson was going to take that gold. Everybody, you were literally outside of the Caribbean, the underdog. And so everybody was like, yeah, the US got this, the US got this, da, 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 da. And they did it. You crossed that finish line first. Like in that moment, you didn't think, yeah, I did that.
For a moment I did, hence why I took my bib out and I was showing my last name. So for a moment I did. But you know, I'm a firm believer of you're only as good as your last race. So you always have to prove yourself every single time. And hence why I always try to go back to myself and not think I'm above anybody else. And go back to the space where I want to keep working hard so I can keep being as good and can keep going to being at the top. So that's why I always like scale back every single time. So I don't want to be ahead of myself or in my head. Yeah,
too
exactly.
boasting.
Because there's always somebody coming for you. And I never want to get in my head and think that I'm comfortable ever, because I still want to accomplish so much more. Sorry. So I never want to be in my head like I'm that person.
Yeah.
And I think not until now, like this year especially, with me getting more confident as the days go by and as I race, that I'm realizing or trying to take into consideration the things that I've done and give myself credit for it.
That's a good start because it helps you be realistic about, you know, where the measuring stick is, and then how much you could go further. Like, so you're like pacing yourself with the confidence, and I think that's a good place to be, because I do believe there's a lot more coming for you. I do think, I mean, this is a year where you have a chance to medal at Worlds. And I know you've been wanting a world championship medal. So there's a lot.
So hard towards that.
This outdoor season is going to be on fire. And I think that it's not like you have something to prove, but it's obviously a goal on your list. So there's a lot that, you know, a lot of effort that goes into it. Like you say, Christmas, you can't even really get to celebrate Christmas, and there's certain things you just can't do because trying to get to this goal, it's a different kind of focus. It's a different kind of focus. So, I mean, what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure you prepare to get on the world stage in Japan? It's Japan this year, so which I hope to be there.
One of which is just taking care of my mental health, ensuring that, you know, I'm on the right track mentally, because, you know, physically is important, but also mentally. Ensuring that I have the right persons around me. You know, life has changed a lot. Ensuring that I have, you know, the persons around me that's not going to like lead me off track or allow me to feel like I'm more than the next person, but also those who have been in my corner from the beginning, and stick to those persons who was there even before I won at the Olympics. Another thing is just taking care of my body. Taking care of my body and ensuring that I get treatment as much as possible, and finding that balance. I was just so caught up being in the house all the time, and my coach said to me, you cannot think about track and field 24/7, because I'll leave from practice and go home and think about track, whether I have whether I have a bad practice or not. I'll go home and I'll sit down and think about it. But now, finding the time to just have a balance, get out of the house. I still struggle with it a little bit, to be honest, where I'll just be home. I don't want to go anywhere.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. I live alone.
Really?
Yeah. And
you're not dating?
I was.
She's like, wait, what?
Not anymore.
We need to get you in the house. We need to get you in the house a little bit. But hey, no. Not until after track.
Not until after track. But I was not anymore. But right now, it's really just track. So finding the balance and finding myself, taking care of myself, like investing in my skin and, you know, doing facials, doing things that'll make me happy, and pouring back into myself as much as I pour into the track. So I've been finding the balance in doing both of those at the same time.
So have you thought about maybe like a hobby, or do you like, I'm not very people-y. I like a small group of people.
Me too.
So I'm not a huge, like, I don't like crowds, or
I
make exceptions to the rule when it's time to like go to the Olympics or World. I'll make exceptions to the rule. But would you ever see yourself like doing hobbies that require being people-y? No, it's just not for you. It's not a thing.
It's not, to be honest. As of now, I have a goal of going back to school. I've been thinking about it, especially in high school, where I did like technical drawing and building. So I really wanted to go back to school to like study architecture. So that's what I've been thinking about. But right now, I'm just still trying to find a hobby in itself. You know, I'll just do things here and there, like randomly, like maybe go out to eat with like my friends, but I don't have anything in particular where I say like, I want to do this today, or like, I'm just so excited to look forward to something. Not
Speaking of friends, are all your friends in the track world, or you have?
Yes, there are a few that's not. Like my best friend, Ronica, she was my friend since I entered high school, like 2013. So we've been friends, childhood friend. And most of my friends are like, well, those out of track and field are back home in St. Lucia. So not many. Yeah, most of them
Texas.
track though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I find that track people stick together a lot. But then when they either decide to retire or it's just not working out in their favor, it's like it's not as close knit anymore. That's what I've noticed.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty young,
Yeah.
so I haven't gotten to that point where somebody around me has stopped and I stopped being friends with them.
Still close knit.
Still close. And especially at Texas, most of the persons who were there and they kind of like moved on because I still train at Texas. I mean, we still keep in contact with each other. When I see them, they will come to the track meets, like Texas released recently. Most of them came out. So I'll still see them, I'll still see them around, and we're still cool with each other.
Promotional consideration provided by Thesis A Curio Collection. The curio aspect highlights the hotel's focus on providing distinctive experiences and a sense of community, rather than simply being a place to stay.
All right, so we're going to segue into more of your personal life, but not so personal. Yeah. I want to know, I know with St. Lucia being a small island similar to Nassau in the Bahamas, you know, the Bahamas is an archipelago of islands, but St. Lucia, as beautiful of a country as it is, what was it like growing up in St. Lucia?
As much as I would say it was hard, it was fun. I had a very fun childhood. Like I said, I was a tomboy growing up. So as soon as my mom would like leave for work, we'll be on the road, like from 8 a.m. until the light come on. Yeah, we'll be on the road for that long because we just love playing in the yard, riding bikes, climbing trees, going to like steal people mangoes and, and akis and stuff. But overall, it was very fun, like growing up in St. Lucia, despite, you know, the hardships, the financial hardships that we also faced.
What would you say is one of the biggest things that your parents instilled in you?
I think it's watching who you're around.
Yeah.
I think that's something that,
sort of discernment.
Yeah, discernment, like watching who you're around. Like not everybody is, I mean, I don't want to think that everybody's out to get you, but also thinking that having those persons around who's going to have a positive impact on you and not those who's going to like bring you out to do, maybe be a criminal or you know, do the bad things. So just watching who you're around and just not following friends. That's something that...
Following friends, that part. My mom used to say that growing up, just stop following friends.
Yeah. They would always say that. Stop being on the road. What are you following?
And they would
this
say,
person not good for you.
My mom would say, if this one jump off the bridge, you could jump too. And most of the time I'm like, but I'm the one that's telling him come to the bridge.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good to have like parents that would instill proper strong morals and values into you. And I know at some point you left St. Lucia and you went to Jamaica. What was that transition like for you?
It was so hard.
It was tough.
It was, oh my God. I mean, I went there at 14. I mean, growing up, all you know is your family, your friends, your neighborhood, and you know, you have those persons around that you just, that's who you know.
That's all you know.
Yeah. So just being on my own and having to leave everything and everybody behind, it was it wasn't a tough decision for me because I mean, I'm going to Jamaica. Yeah. I mean, where people sprint and you have Usain Bolt, like somebody I idolized growing up. You have Julien Alfred, so many like good sprinters. So it wasn't a hard decision for me, but not until I got to Jamaica and I realized now I don't have my friends, I don't have my family anymore, and the things that I usually know, it's hard.
It's a different culture.
Yeah,
even though it's an island, people think all islanders are alike, and that our cultures are so different. I mean, just listening to the way we all speak, that alone, the way we refer to certain fruits. Like, I know there's a fruit we call sugar apple, and one of my friends from Jamaica, she called it something else. I was like, what? Oh, yeah. That's not that.
Yeah. What we call aki, Jamaica call guinep.
See?
Yeah.
And what we call guinep, the people call it something else.
Yeah,
like,
we
are not the same. I'm like, yeah, we are the same in that as a diaspora, we could relate. We have similarities in, you know, culture and rhythm and music and religion and all those things. Right. When you bring it all in, you'd be like, this is not my island. This is not where I'm from.
Completely different. The languages that we speak.
Even the water, you'd be like, that's not my water. My water's better.
Yeah, you'll have some good water in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
I would say it's the best.
We get real territorial when you start talking with the water now. You can talk about anything else. You talk with the water, be like, can you see the bottom of your water?
So you'll have some good water in Bahamas.
Yeah, we do. But growing up, moving from St. Lucia to Jamaica, it was a hard transition. And then you got the opportunity for you to go to Texas. And that was back in 2018.
2018, actually after Jamaica, I went back home for like 6 months.
Okay.
And I went to Youth Olympic, but I needed a break. I needed a break to like recoup and just see my family again, spend time with my family. I mean, during that time, I was also trying to see where I would want to go next.
Yeah.
And Coach Flo reached out to one of the coaches or the former athletes in St. Lucia, Makiba Al-Said. And I took my visit to Texas, which was my second visit. I just stayed there. I just went there the following year, 2019, January. So yeah, that's where it began, University of Texas.
Yeah. And being a girl from the islands, being in a landlocked state, like, was that like a culture shock for you as well? Because Texas is humongous for starters. And there's so many different types of Texans, you know. I hear the food's amazing there. People keep talking about these, like, who has the best rolls, the best bread. I'm like, that's a thing?
Texas Roadhouse.
Well, now I want to try it. But I heard that was a thing. Like, they would literally sit down and debate that.
Yeah.
And everybody would say that. So I'm like, well, what are the others? What are the other options?
Yeah, I mean, barbecue is big in Texas for some reason. I'm not sure
everything's
why.
Big in Texas.
Yeah, everything is big in Texas, but barbecue is like a big thing. I'm not sure why. I'm not into barbecue at all. Just the sauce in particular. I just not a huge fan of it. But like I said, Texas is really big, and I think the hardest part for me was getting around. Yeah. Because I came to Texas, and you need data for like every single thing here in the US. You need to get around, and I would have to. Whenever I had to go like do like some shopping or something, I would have a way to go to the shop, but I would never have a way to come back because I wouldn't have any like data. So I'll have to either call my roommate at the time to like call me on Uber to like come back because I mean you could
scary.
Still use,
you was putting your trust in something.
But at the same time, I mean that was the hardest part about it because I already knew how to be on my own at such a young age. So it wasn't being away from family, even though I was homesick most of the time because there's no place like home. But that was the hardest part for me, just getting around when I first got to Texas.
But acclimating to the environment and the new team and the coach. I've heard a lot about Coach Flo over the years. I think he's one of the best coaches, not just for his coaching, but just because of the type of, I guess, father figure I've been made to be aware that he is. And so I can only imagine that he was able to create a safe space for you, coming from a small island to another small island to now this big old state where, I mean, you also had big shoes to fill in some instances. Not necessarily like other 100-meter sprinters, but let's be real, like Sanya Richards-Ross came from there. And you slaughtered some of her firsts in the records as well. So it's like coming there, did you even think about, like, I have this as a goal, I have that as a goal, and I know this is like really track town of Texas, because Texas, I've been made to be aware is the state that has the fastest and the most track and field athletes. Yeah.
See, I don't even think that far ahead. However, I think for me, I really wanted to be with Coach Flo because my final year of high school in Jamaica, I was following him and also Sydney at the time, who was doing really well her freshman year at Kentucky. I mean, she was already doing good in high school. Yeah. So then also seeing that he also coached former U.S. 100-meter hurdles world record holder, Kenny Harrison, and then he also coached like Omar McLeod and Camacho Queen and
all the hurdlers.
Yeah, so just seeing the amount of athletes that he has produced as well, for me it was really just being with Coach Flo, and he is a father figure. He's a coach. He's a father figure. He can be a friend at times, just to like call somebody to like just talk to about whatever it is. So just being with him was really the goal for me at Texas.
What is one of the few things, if not just one thing, that is a misconception about you, like what people don't know?
What are they saying? I don't know what they're saying about it.
I mean, you never should pay attention to what they're saying. Like, literally, who cares? But
yeah, what are they saying? I don't know.
Like, what would you think that people would misunderstand about you or think or not realize this is who you are?
I mean, as we spoke about earlier, people think I'm just like
Just
this
mean,
mean person.
mean.
No, I'm like pretty easygoing.
Pretty
Like
chill.
as long as like you're good to me, then and you give me the right energy, I'll reciprocate the exact same thing. But once you get to know me outside of like track and field, especially those back home who's like I can relate to a lot, especially in my culture. Like I'm just this fun, easygoing person. I can be loud at times, especially around my family.
Yeah.
You know, playing
Because it's a different space.
different space, different people. But I'm very easygoing. I'm not like shy all the time or on the track mean as always, as people would say. Like she looks so mean.
You need to get a shirt
But-
now that says mean.
Yeah.
AF.
Well,
Play
I'm
around
not
with
that
it.
kind of person.
They'd be like,
Uh-oh.
oh, so she knows.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
Yeah, but no, from what I've seen and experienced, you're definitely not a mean person. I think it's fine to guard and protect your aura, your energy, your space. I mean, where we are in life, it's important because there's a lot of times where people seem to be trustworthy or trusting and they're not. And then with you sitting in the space that you're sitting in now, I think even more so now, it's good to have that gift of discernment that your parents gave you, you know, so kudos to them for giving that to you. I think that's so important to have.
Yeah, like you said, I'm really protective of just my space and just my time and just like my energy around. So if I feel like you're not gonna be good for me, I try to like step back or, you know, just protect myself all around because you just don't know who you can trust these days.
That's a good trait to have
as well.
So being mindful of that.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a good question. And most of the time, I'll always say wherever God leads me, whatever He has planned for me, which is the right answer for me.
Yeah.
However, I do want to continue to work on my foundation in St. Lucia. Maybe have a few track meets in St. Lucia and giving back to the youth of St. Lucia. I do want to, go to the Olympics as well.
Yeah, that's
early
in
28.
4-ish,
Yeah.
3.5 years.
Early 28, just getting more accolades. And I really want to get into like public speaking. I do want to do that. And, you know, maybe supporting different causes such as mental health, because I'm really big on mental health as well. So these are just a few things that I possibly see myself being into. And, you know, hoping to get into like, maybe like fashion and stuff like that. I'm
I was
slowly
gonna
but
say, you
surely
forgot to
getting-
say being a fan.
Maybe get into some makeup.
Skincare, some makeup.
Yeah, skincare for sure. I'm into that now.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I feel like you are slowly morphing into this big energy that's always there sitting waiting for you. And I think that's definitely a thing that I could see happening, not a possibility, but it's just a matter of time. I have 2 more questions for you that I feel like I have to ask. If there's one word to describe you as a person, what would that word be?
Resilient.
Resilient.
I would say that.
Why resilient?
I would say resilient, I think, and I don't want to victimize myself or anything, but just how hard it's been, especially growing up, having, you know, financial struggles with my mom and with my dad passing away at such a young age. Like when I was 11, 2012, that was back in 2013. And just seeing how many times I've picked myself back up from being in Jamaica, taking on big opportunities like that, being on my own at such a young age. And at one point, I was just like, I cannot do it anymore. I can't afford to have to pick myself back up every single time on my own because everybody is away from me. Nobody really understands like what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, but I had to stick it out, you know, no matter what, and knowing that in the end it'll be better. Hence why I have the quote in my bio, Romans 8:18, that the pain that you're feeling can't compare to the joy that's coming. And just going through Texas, everybody have struggles, but I would just consider myself as resilient because no matter what has been thrown at me, I've been able to pick myself back up and dust myself and, you know, face the challenge head on no matter what.
And I was gonna ask, like, what was a piece of advice you would give somebody that is on the same trajectory? But I think you kind of answered it right then and there. It's being able to pick yourself up, knowing that you're going to have challenges, knowing that you're going to have moments where things won't necessarily work out the way you want them to. But once you keep pushing, you know what the goal is, you believe in yourself. It's like you can overcome anything and you can be as resilient as you think you can.
Yeah, my coach always says that God gives me the same challenges every single time.
Yeah.
Like where I face a challenge and I think that, oh, life is over, like everything is just crashing down. But it's really just a test from God, seeing like how can you, like what's your faith like? And how can you overcome this and trust in me no matter what it looks like at the time. And even though I may cry, I feel like everything is over, like I said earlier on, no matter what, it always turns out better every single time. So if I had to give somebody advice, I would just, it sounds cliche, but just never give up on your dreams, because what you're thinking now is probably like over or like hard. As long as you keep going over it or pushing towards your goal, it'll get better, trust me.
Yeah, and I mean, she's definitely living.
Yeah.
So I would say take her advice.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
definitely could see you being in that architectural space. I mean, I'm excited for what that looks like for you. I'm excited to see what the rest of this year looks like.
Yeah,
for you.
I'm
Hopefully
excited.
I get to be in Japan.
Yes.
On the sideline.
You should come.
On the finish line. I'm gonna make my best effort to try to be there. I am a track enthusiast at heart, but I definitely, you have a fan and a follower in me for
Thank
sure.
you.
And I
That means a lot to
think,
me.
yeah, I think that you have so much more to give, and very inspiring, very beautiful, and very, very focused. And I think what is coming ahead for you, you're gonna have to find the space to hold it, because I think definitely I could feel the energy of just amazing things, and you're handling it well. I'm very proud of everything that you had to overcome and that you've shown the world, and more importantly yourself, that you can. And I think that's important. So if there's one last thing you want to say to our viewers and our listeners.
I like to big up my country.
There you go.
So to St. Lucians, I really want to say thank you for all your love and support that you've been showing me. It's always a pleasure representing you on the global stage. And to those persons who are not St. Lucians, I think that you should visit the island at least once or twice. It's a very fun island.
Well, there you go. I'm going to book my plane ticket. I'm coming to St. Lucia.
You should.
Hey, as soon as she wins this next goal, we coming to St. Lucia.
Yes, everybody buy tickets.
Hey, and that Fenty, that's coming. We coming with little Fenty Puma action later on.
Yes.
We're manifesting.
That's
But,
for sure.
but Julien, thank you so much for joining us. I am looking forward to more to come, not just in 2025, but all the way to 2028 and beyond. And just keep being you and keep being fast and pretty and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
Keep being a real one.
Thank you so
It's so
much.
good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.